Well, what's on my mind is attachment. And this is a really habitual mind, I've realized. I think you guys have heard me talk over and over about how habitual and familiar I am with complaining and judging. And I see that attachment is even more familiar, more habitual, and harder to recognize and want to antidote. So, my first crush happened when I was about 8 years old. This guy named Travis, and he played soccer, and so did I. And my memory of him really is one of the illustrations I think of with attachment, where he was very tall and very fast, and I wasn't very good at soccer, but I did enjoy trying to get the ball away from people. And so I just have this memory of like day after day on the playground, chasing this person as fast as I can and trying to get the ball away from him. And this game never got old or tiring, just, chasing, chasing, chasing. And so when I think of attachment, and this is what I think it is, it's not actually this like happiness of contentment and peace. It's this like frenetic, restless, kind of desire and craving that always wants more and is never satisfied. And when attachment came up recently, I was actually quite surprised because I've had very familial, habitual attachment. And, I knew this was a problem. I'm trying to work on it. And I had this idea, I think, that attachment would just always be there. It was just going to kind of always be in the background. Never changing, but things change. And actually, this experience has made me see that attachment doesn't have to always be directed towards the same person or even a person at all. That it's this kind of like film, this distorted perception that I have, and it's not real. It totally comes from my own mind. And that view can shift, and I can actually see someone in a more balanced and really kind way instead of through the lens of like the enjoyment of my mind that's just really likes to fantasize and be distracted by hallucinations. But this attachment is really hard to notice. And so at first it can be just this like pleasant feeling, this, increased energy. And as a person who struggles to sometimes stay awake and alert during meditations and teachings, it was like, great, I'm awake. I don't know what's going on, but this is awesome. But then, then I noticed this, kind of like magnetism of like, being drawn towards this person and knowing that that's not normal. Here's like a whole room full of people. Why is it that my attention is going towards the same person over and over again? I think there's attachment. Oh, and that zingy feeling, yes, that is a sign too. So putting the pieces together and seeing that this was manifesting in my mind. And thankfully, as a Buddhist, and especially as a Buddhist nun, recognizing that this is a very dangerous state of mind, that it really needs to be antidoted and worked with. And I know from my experience, the rest of my life, I've just kind of followed it. Like, this is some special feeling I can just run after and have a good time. But now, I realize that this is an affliction. This is a distorted perception. I'm not seeing clearly. And I know that afflictions lead to negative actions. And so I better deal with this now before I do things I regret. So I've been looking a lot at the disadvantages of attachment. And one of the biggest ones that I keep coming back to is how it increases this feeling of self, this, the mental factor, whatever, the affliction of self-grasping ignorance. How when looking for, someone else's validation or just feeling this zingy feeling, I am attributing this, real existence to this other person. But that starts from attributing this real existence to myself. And there is this, something that becomes more concrete and just less balanced. Um, Attachment is the root of cyclic existence. And so seeing the disadvantage of following this now and what are the habits I'm creating for the future. My previous lives probably also indulged in attachment, and so I was, more inclined to that in this life. And noticing how the mind also goes, much more high and low. And since I've been here the past few years, my mind, it's does its ups and downs, but it doesn't go quite like it used to, I think, when, there was just more objects of attachment around me all the time. But then noticing when there's attachment in my mind, the highs and lows get much more extreme. And this also, the highs could be, this like energetic sort of feeling, but it's not happiness. It's freneticness, it's craving and desire. And perhaps like the grade F happiness, just that's like looking just for this life. But knowing that there's this more contentment, peaceful feeling that is a lasting happiness, which is what I'm really wanting. And what I'm wanting to bring to others too. If I'm relating to others from this place of attachment, I'm actually not able to see them as a complete person. I'm like seeing them as my mind is projecting and really unable to cultivate real love and compassion that actually cares for them and wants them to be free of suffering, because I'm so consumed with wanting these pleasant feelings myself that's as it's unintentional, but that's where the attention goes, is to my pleasant feelings. There's plenty of strings attached, and cultivating this unconditional compassion of really wanting someone to be free from suffering and have happiness, genuine happiness, not frenetic attached happiness. The capacity is really decreased when my mind is full of attachment. And Geshe Topke talks, I think he starts pretty much all of his teachings out by reminding us that when we are grasping to this I and my and mine, and then we have, our friends who are close to us, we get that attachment towards that, and then we are pushing away anything that is a threat to our friends who are close to us. I've seen in my own life how when something negative happened to someone who I was attached to, then I was also angry at those people who did that to that person. And so it's really hard to generate bodhicitta if there's then this bigger group of people who I'm considering enemies because they are a threat to someone who I have this attachment towards. And I would say one of the things that's been most effective in helping me, I guess there's a few things actually that have been helping me. One is to really see, as I think about the greater political situation that's happening here and seeing politicians making decisions that I really disagree with, like seeing, oh my gosh, I think they might also have attachment going on in their mind. They might also, maybe it's not, the same flavor, but it's probably not so different. This attachment to money and power and status, leaving some sort of legacy, being in control, these, kind of really looking at the happiness of this life, getting some sort of rush and thrill from, these, acquiring these things. And so knowing that I want to make decisions that are really taking into account what is benefit to the most beings possible. I don't want to act like I see being modeled by the leadership in this country, so I better work with the attachment that I am really noticing and is arising in my mind, because what's to say in a future life this isn't going to be attachment to money and power and status and these, other worldly things. And a few weeks ago, Venerable, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, you reminded us about meditating on corpses. And so that is also very helpful. just this thought, first off, of, okay, so I have a lot of attachment in my mind, and then I'm going to die. And so, what state of mind do I want when I die? I definitely don't want one that is just filled with this attachment and craving. And since I have no idea when I'm going to die, it's best to work on this now, because really anything could happen. And then looking, imagining, this person that I have attachment towards as a corpse, and that, where is that attachment to this, dead body that can't talk, can't walk, is very stinky, and continues to like decompose and get eaten by animals. What is there to be attached to? It's really this crazy projection and fantasizing that goes on to my mind. It's not actually anything in that person. It's this habit of, I think, liking the fantasy a lot more than I like to look at my situation here in samsara. But thankfully, we can change our habits. And so it's kind of nice not nice. It is, I'm taking it as an opportunity as it comes up to work on it, to try and, create this habit of seeing it arise and applying some antidotes. One thing that has also been a symptom, a sign of an attached mind, I think, is that the jukebox in my head has been just booming. I mean, some of you might have been hearing me sing recently because it's just so loud. Sometimes I can't help it. And so one song that's been particularly present has been really interesting. It's been a Bob Marley song. And I don't think that Bob Marley was writing about attachment in particular, but these lyrics really remind me of the situation that I'm in when I'm under the influence of attachment. No chains around my feet, but I'm not free. I know I am bound here in captivity. Darkness has come in my life, and it enters my day until night. Where is the love to be found? And so with attachment, sure, it's not some physical shackles, but it is binding us to cyclic existence. It is the cause of rebirth, of wanting to have another body, because I am so attached to this this idea of who I think I am. And that there is this darkness, there is this, of course there's the seeming funness of it, but with attachment, there is always pain that comes with it. That's also a sign of attachment, is when there is pain happening regarding, the situation, the person, or whatever, the separation of that relationship. And there, it's harder to find that love when, in this, having love and compassion for others that isn't mired in attachment is a cause for happiness. We really are caring for others and wanting to support others. But with attachment, it brings this darkness that is, just all about me getting what I want and being so focused on indulging in these seemingly pleasant things that I'm not actually creating the causes for happiness for myself or others. So, since I want to generate bodhicitta and really be of the most benefit to all sentient beings, not exclusively to one being. I've tried that, and it's not so rewarding. I really want to open my heart to all sentient beings. So I need to decrease this attachment and continue to work with it. And this really increases my potential to appreciate others and to cultivate these genuine good qualities that allow me to show up in a way that is really able to support others in their spiritual aspirations, to support others to develop their ethical behavior and good qualities as well, instead of Yeah, just continuing to follow this very habitual mind.